Hello and happy New Year, and welcome to Spiral Path Arts. I'm Beth, and you grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and join me here by the faux fire and warm your toes. And let's have a little New Year's chat. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's Eve and are starting the new year healthy and happy and in good spirits. I did have a nice New Year's Eve, nothing fancy, nothing too shenanigans filled, and came through it safe and sound. So happy to report. So what am I going to give you for my New Year's video? I am not going to do a review of all the projects that I did for 2023, but I just wanted to get on here and chat with you a little bit about 2023 and going into 2024 and where I'm going, where I'm headed, and how I'm feeling about things. So a little fireside chat, if you will. And also I have at least one project to talk to you about that I have been working on all fall and have never gotten a full final video made of it. So we're going to start there. Well, no, we're not. We'll start by talking about 2023 and how it started and how it's going and how it ended. How about that? 2023 was an interesting year, and I kind of I've been doing a little, reflective thinking and journaling and things like that, which we all tend to do, I think, this time of year. And I've come to the conclusion that 2022 was the year of new beginnings for me. Obviously, I had gotten a divorce in the fall of 2021. April of 22, I came down here to Selma and found this house, put in an offer. June, moved here, started all over in a new state, in a new town, in a new house, alone as a single woman for the first time in 32 years. And really the most independent I've ever been in my entire life, because I went from college to marriage pretty quickly. And so 2022 was the year of new beginnings, the new house, new job, well, not new job, new house, new town, new state, new friends, new life, new me, new year, new me in 2022. 2023, as it's wrapping up, I had to really think, well, what was this year? What was the theme of this year? What was this year all about? And really, I'm calling 2023 my thrifty year. After buying the house, living in it for, from June until the end of the year. So half of the year, I had a good idea of what my expenses were, my budget was, my income was. Some things changed a little bit a year ago financially. And so I had to really think about every purchase and how I was living my life. And I didn't want to ever feel deprived, although I have always been, the way I was raised, pretty thrifty person. So that it wasn't really a difficult transition. I didn't go from, wasn't like Schitt's Creek, I just a different, now I was responsible, and I was the only one responsible, which gave me power, but also gave me fear. So anyhow, it was the year of trying to make what I had, the resources that I had, stretch as far as possible, both financial resources, food resources, materials that I have, be it yarn and fabric and paint and craft supplies and art that I want to hang on my wall and things like, oh, I want to decorate this room. What do I have that I can already repurpose or look at in a new way or put in a different space and make do with what I have, make it stretch a little further. And then when I also really wanting to make this home a reflection of me and the way I want to live in it, the way I want it to be comforting, and I want it to be welcoming, and I want it to be cozy and warm and eclectic and artistic and a little off, a little quirky, a little weird here and there, perhaps, because, like I said, I wanted to be a reflection of me. And so, how do I do that without spending a lot of money? And how I do it is Goodwill, Salvation Army, flea markets, Facebook Marketplace, bartering with friends, those kinds of things. And I feel like I was pretty successful in finding what I needed, the resources I needed, and finding them in the least expensive way possible, and or making them stretch. Free leaves, anyone? Yeah. So pretty good at that. So that was kind of what this year was all about, making something out of nothing. And that brings me to the project I want to share with you now. And that is this blanket. And it has a sister blanket over on the table here. I'll show you in a minute. It's not finished. This is a mitered square blanket. There are a lot of different variations on how to make a mitered square blanket out there on the internet if you want to looking for one. But the basic concept is, where's my beginning square? My beginning square was this one down here, this blue one. You start by making a mitered square. And it can either be an even or odd number of stitches, depending on how you want to do your decreases in the middle. And again, this isn't a tutorial. So this particular one, cast on 24 stitches. And when you get to the middle stitches, you do 2 decreases on every right side row. This is garter stitch, so it's the same front and back, lays flat, really pretty. The purpose of this particular blanket was to use up random balls of yarn. These big pink squares and lots of pink squares in this blanket, because I had 2 big balls of this variegated pink yarn. And I also had 1 ball of this blue variegated yarn. And so there's a lot of different shades of that blue yarn in here as well. But the rest of this is random sock yarns that I had little bits left of. But then I got to about the halfway point, and I was kind of running out of some of the variety of colors that I wanted. And I wanted to make it a little bit bigger. But I was having so much fun learning to dye wool that I did a little mini project that I videotaped. So I'll share that now. Hey there, welcome to Sunday Fun Day. That's what I'm calling it, because I'm having fun today. I am working on that mitered square blanket project, which is what this video is about. I've been working on it for a while, and so there's going to be footage from a lot of different days. But anyway, today is Sunday Fun Day. It's November 12th, if anybody's keeping track. And I needed some more options, colors for that blanket. So rather than, be boring and just do a few colors, I decided to do them all. Well, not quite, but it feels like that as I started mixing up dye baths here. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. 12 different colors that I'm going to work with today, but I did make myself like a little combo list here of like what I had in mind when I did this, so I'm not just winging it. At least that's my intention. So I'm not going to take you through the whole process. I just mixed up all the dye, and I have my yarn soaking. Oh my god, that sounded very Midwest. My yarn, anyway, soaking in hot water and citric acid. And I actually started this like Thursday or Friday. I don't know. There was a day that I thought I was going to do this project. Started by wetting the yarn and soaking it, not in the citric acid, just in hot water. And I don't always pre-soak it in it's not really mordant, but in the citric acid or the vinegar. But I think the way I want to do the yarn today, that's the experiment I'm trying today. Again, I'm still pretty new to dyeing yarn. So, but I'm not going to take you through all of it. But I'll show you. Let me show you like the colors and how organized I've gotten myself. And then I'm going to dye the yarn. Then I'm going to rinse and do all the yarn things. And then I'll have 6 more mini skeins to add into my blanket.
So it's scrappier and more, it won't be rainbow, but you know, it's got a lot of variety. Because I guess when I was buying sock yarn in the past, I had a propensity toward buying purples. Now, have I dyed more purple and green yarn? Yeah, I have. But today, well, I did make purple. What was I going to do with purple? Oh, I was going to try to do more like a jewel tone purple and Caribbean blue and sapphire blue because I had a little bit of that in a colorway in my scraps, and I really like the way it popped in there. So I think that's what I'm gonna see if I'm not trying to reproduce anything, but I'm gonna come close. I'm trying to clean up my workspace. So that's what I'm doing today. But let me grab the camera and show you the colors I'm going to work with today. It's quite a variety. My original intention was I was going to try to do brights and maybe dilute my dye stock a little bit and make some pastels. But that's not, well, we'll see what I end up with when I'm done. Maybe I will do that. But instead, I came up with 12 different colorways. Well, no, sorry, 6 different colorways, 12 different colors. When you have all the colors, use all the colors. Well, I don't have all the colors, but you know what I mean? Why limit yourself to 2 or 3 colors? So let me show you what I got. All right, I have them laid out here in kind of a particular order because they match the cups over here. Now I do have lids for these cups, and I will take my Sharpie and I will write on the lids with the Sharpie what color is in each pot, because I'm not going to use up all that dye on 6 little tiny skeins, which are right there. So another day I'm going to, now that I have the dye stock all mixed, I will be able to come in here with silk and different wools and different things and dye more stuff and things. That's my intention. I started the day with the new cat using the front bed as a litter box, and I had just put one of my antique quilts on it. So I had to wash quilts this morning. It is a gray, rainy, yucky day, so I can't put my quilts out in the sun to dry and, you know, add a little solar sanitizing. So I'm in a little bit of a mood because my cats have just been little a-holes today, as cats tend to be on occasion. So I thought, play with color. That makes you happy. And so that's what I'm doing. All right. Just come back in, well, for you, 2 seconds or whatever, after a little montage or something, to see what colors I came up with. Okay, bye. So here is the result of today's Sunday Fun Day. I have a lot still to learn about dyeing yarn. And that's okay, because that's what this whole project is about learning how the different colors work together. I mean, I understand the basics of color theory, which is kind of what's going on down here. I knew I wanted a fuchsia pink, a bright yellow, and with some bright orange in there. And I definitely got that here. Same thing here. I was going with the Caribbean blue and this was the yellow. The same yellow is over here with the Caribbean blue. And then we get some bright greens where they blend. Basic color theory. And I like it. Very pretty, very vivid colors. And then this one was a total surprise. I kind of put the yarn down in kind of a crumpled, so I wasn't going to get like sections like this. I knew it was going to be all mixed up like this. And I did the sapphire blue and the plum dandy, and then a little bit of the chartreuse green. And it looked very, with the plum dandy and the blue, it looked very almost patriotic in the wet form. So then I added the chartreuse, and I wasn't liking it. It was looking very primary color weirdness. So I added just a little bit of the hot pink from over here, just a couple spots. But look what it did down here. And then look how it got like these rusts and golds and the I don't know. I really like this up here. So now I wish that this one over here had been more these two colors. But that's why we're doing this. And I'm actually writing things down so I remember what I did. So this did not end up at all like it started or what I thought it was. I don't know what I thought it was going to do. Because now I'm realizing there was another one I was going to do that I didn't do. That was going to be this same combination, but instead of plum, sapphire, and green, it was going to be these three colors in one. And I didn't do that one to see what they different. Anyway, this one I'm going to love. I'm going to use the crap out of this one. I'm going to do this one again. This is the fawn brown and the moss green. And love those two colors. Just love them. Knew they would go together in kind of a hobbity kind of autumn look. And then this one, it's basically denim blue. I don't know how it's showing up on camera, but it's these bright blues are showing up a lot more on camera. It doesn't have any bright blue in it. It has sage green and tornado gray. And I get this denim blue. There's only a little bit. Now, I did this one differently than the other ones. This was the first one I started with, and I realized that my method I was using for this one wasn't going to work. So that's why the colors blended more, and I got more of this dark denim. And then this one did not go where I thought it was going to go. And this is a lesson in, here we can kind of see how the yarn was in the pan, if you put it that way. I started with the deep purple, beautiful color, and then the sapphire blue, and then the Caribbean blue. So I just wanted shades of blue. Then I diluted the purple a little bit for the other end of the skein. It wasn't like quite like this in the, maybe the middle of this. I guess it was the middle because here is the dark purple on the other end. And that taught me something. And somewhere else I diluted something. I think on this one, which didn't help much. I think maybe I diluted some of the fawn. I got some straight fawn in here, and then there was still some white. It struck really fast because I had pre-soaked my yarn, and so then I diluted the fawn and went over the areas that still had some light spots. And that's what I did. And maybe I did some of that here, but anyhow, again, not trying to be tutorial-y, but boy, I got some neons in there, and then I got some like muted. I should put this one down here with other neons. So, but I think the next go around, I have another experiment where I'm not going to use full strength dyes, because that's where you're getting these really, I don't know if that's going to go in my new blanket or not, because those are really neon-y. They're not technically neon colors, but they just came out very, very vivid. But boy, it's a pretty combination. But I don't know how those are all going to look together in the same blanket. So these might have to go and do something else. Even though I was trying for some more yellows for that blanket, I may have to have another go. But that's why I'm doing the little skeins. These are only about 100 yards each, approximately. I think this gray blue one is smaller, which is good because that's the color I don't need in that blanket. Plenty of things in that color in that blanket already. So, yeah, we'll see what they do when they dry, because colors will shift a little bit. They won't be quite as dark after they dry, and I ball them up. They'll look differently, but my next go, I'm going to start diluting and mixing colors. I'm going to do a little, because this lighter purple is really pretty. So I might do some ombres. But again, I kind of wanted, I didn't use every color that I have, but I think in some thing or other, I have used every color that I have. So now I can kind of get an idea how it dyes. Although this tornado gray, I have yet to get a pure gray. So I may do this colorway again using the methods that I used here. So I had more color separation. I think that, because this almost came out almost looking kettle dyed, which in a way is kind of what I did, not on purpose. But anyway, that was today's Sunday Fun Day and my latest kind of bigger project that I'm working on. And I got some more things to share with you. So come back next time and see what we're all about. Bye.
So you can see I had a lot of fun playing with color and making some new yarns to add to this blanket, which are more down on this end. You'll see like those hot pink and yellow and some of them in there. And it was a great way to kind of, so it's more of a sampler, scrappy, use up what I have. I mean, it helped me use up the dyes that I had to dye more yarn. So it still fell within the theme. Well, when I got this one done, which is not quite twin size, but it's long enough that I can lay on the couch and cover my feet and have it come to my chin. And it's just wide enough to tuck in around me. Or I can wrap it around my shoulders like a very large shawl and keep my upper arms and, neck warm if I'm sitting in a drafty place and have my arms exposed. And it's soft, it's wool. I think some of these older yarns in here there might be some acrylics, but it's mostly all wool sock yarn. I love it. I did an I-cord edging on it to bind it around the edges. Well, when I got it all done, when I found some more yarn, as one does when they're cleaning out things. But I started a second one because also, as one does when they're working on a project, they discover other techniques that are adjacent to that project and they want to try them again. At least that's how I do. So I wanted to see how making a mitered square blanket with a stockinette stitch instead of garter stitch. So you've kind of got the smooth stockinette side, and then you've got the bumpy side. How that would do, and doing a one single double decrease down the middle would work. So I had a lot of solid DK weight and sport weight yarns, random balls that I had left over from some granny square projects and some other colorful Afghan projects that I did. So I started this one, and you can see I striped a lot of the squares because I had so many small little bits of yarn that, I would just knit till they ran out, or I would alternate them to make stripes. It's a lot of fun. And you can see here I have 3 more squares to make it a completed small lap quilt. Problem with stockinette stitch, as anybody knows, it's knit anything with stockinette stitch, is that the raw edges roll when it doesn't lay flat like garter stitch does. So I'm either going to lean into that and just let them be rolled edges, and that's fine. But I also found this book in my stash, which is Edie Ekman's Around the Corner Crochet Borders, and there are 150 different crocheted borders in here, and she does all the math, and she's got all the charts in here. I think I bought this to do the pillowcases at one time. And so I can't remember. I know which one I'm pretty sure I know which one I'm going to use, but am I going to be able to find it because I didn't put a bookmark in it? No, I'm not. This one. I just want something very solid and flat. So I still have one more ball of that pink variegated, pink and white yarn. What this is, and it changes colors. It's also that one is the same. That one is the same. Anyway, I have a whole ball of that, so I think I can do a crocheted border around this one to make it a little bit bigger and help it lay flat and use up that pink yarn that the baby it was bought for is now 3.5 years old. So she's not getting a baby blanket out of it. Although this might make a fun baby blanket for some maximalist, colorful baby. If you were a new mother and someone gave you this as a baby blanket, would you be like, oh, Aunt Beth is losing her mind? She's given us these ugly knit blankets that don't match anything in our nursery, because, of course, all of our nurseries now curated and matching and beautiful. But anyhow, I don't know what's going to happen. But that brings me to 2024. What is the theme of 2024 going to be? And, well, I was inspired by a lot of your comments on my quilt show video just a while back, encouraging me to finish a lot of the UFOs that I found in those bins that day. Stay at the very end and you will see what has been finished already. A little reveal, but you got to stay at the end of the video to see that. And so this year is going to be the year of finishing up. Kind of an extension of my thrifty year, my year of use it or lose it kind of thriftiness of, don't you want to work on something you already have and use things that you already have. But that going through those bins really highlighted to me how many projects that I have started that I just never finished. And if I just need something to do, to go work on those rather than starting out something else new. Because the awareness of my own neurodivergencies and my own ADHD and things have also become quite apparent to me since I've been living alone as a single woman and just working through my stuff, physical stuff and stuff. So anyhow, let's tackle finishing things up. That also includes a few house projects. You live in a 130-some-year-old house. You're never going to be done, I don't think. But there are some things that didn't happen in 2023 that need to happen in 2024. And there's a variety of reasons why they didn't happen in 2023. One being a tornado kind of sidelined me from what my original goals were. A year ago, my original goal was to get that bathroom and bedroom done. And I was going to do it and have it done by my birthday in March. And then the tornado hit and I had to work on clearing my shed and demoing the shed and securing my backyard and putting up the new shed and all those things. And in the process, I kind of injured my hands with some repetitive stress things that sidelined me. Then had the opportunity to get the house painted, which really needed to be done. And it was within my budget and the guys that did the work, were available like right then. So I didn't want to lose the opportunity. So that's the direction things went in 2023 which is good because it needed to happen, especially once they got started and we started seeing how bad a lot of things were. Getting the house painted was a really good thing to do. Also, in relation to the tornado, something that is still literally hanging over my head unfinished is my roof. I'm supposed to get a new roof. because of the tornado damage to my old roof. But insurance is dragging its feet. Company that's doing the work has had some delays. I don't really, every time I talk to them, it's a different reason. So I'm not really sure which reason is the going reason. From supply chain, the antique, the reproduction antique roof, hard to find. Well, a lot of people in town have new ones already, same exact roof as me. So somebody's making them and they're available to someone. So that excuse isn't flying anymore. But anyway, we're 12 days away, 11 days away from the anniversary of the tornado, and I still don't have a new roof. And that put a lot of other things on hold because I have a lot of attic stuff I want done, but no point in doing a lot of it if the roof's going to get torn off and be open for, well, hopefully not more than a day when they tear it off and start putting it back up. So doing all that attic work, is there a point in doing it if it's potentially have to be redone after they do the roof? I don't know. So finishing things up, getting that roof done so the attic work can get done, so the stairway and the hallway can get done, the bathroom and the bedroom can get done, and then my house is done. Except for the kitchen, but that's a different story. And yeah, the kitchen might get a facelift this year, but it's not getting any renovations, says me. Also other unfinished things, again, slightly related to the tornado, the raised beds that I want to build, reusing the lumber and the roofing from the old shed that blew down in the storm. That hasn't happened, but it's all there. It's going to happen this year. So that's what 2024 is fundamentally for me, is a year of finishing things up. Like there were a lot of things with the move, the divorce, the move, the change of lifestyle, the change of finances, that just had to be in my life, had to be put on hold because I had to focus on other things. I had to focus on, when I was still in Chattanooga, working as much as possible to make as much money as possible to be able to afford everything, to doing as much of the work as possible physically myself, because again, no budget to hire someone to do it, and I had the skills to do it, so do it. But that put priority on those projects over other things. So now life is getting a little more, I hate to say normal, because I don't think my life will ever be quite normal, but I'm into more of a day-to-day routine now than I have been for the last 2 years. That is the life I have envisioned for myself, the type of life I have envisioned and I have worked very hard to manifest, is starting to finally become real, and it's really exciting. Now, the last part of my prognostications toward 2024 is a little more bittersweet and a little bit more difficult to handle and talk about. But I'm all about being real with y'all and not hiding the truth or hiding the pain or the dirty stuff or the ugly stuff. And one of those things is that 2024 also could be the year of saying goodbye, the year of endings, not just finishing things, but endings. One, and he's over here having dreams. I know if I turn the camera to him, he'll stop. So, but is my dear old dog Castiel, who turned 14 in 2023, and we're halfway. Yeah, we're at 14 and a half. And he's had a few days and a few moments in the last year or so. He does better in the fall and the winter, except when it's real cold. Then his back legs get a little funky. Thought I heard someone at the door. Sorry. But the summers are not good. So the chances are very strong that he will not make it through to next New Year's. I'm kind of surprised he made it to this New Year's, to be honest. But he's been given a lot of special treatment to get him to this point, and he's going to continue to do so. So, in my usual fashion, I'm trying to be realistic and realize that this is going to more than likely happen, and to try to find the rainbow in this, the good in this. And the good is that he is 14 and a half years old. I am 56, will be 57 in a few months, and he has been with me for a quarter of my life. And of all of the animals that I've had since I was a very young child to now, he is the one who has been with me the longest, with the exception of Leche, who we lost this summer. But Leche wasn't mine. I was just his guardian for a few years. He was my daughter's cat. He was 19, and he did pass this summer. I knew I was going to freaking cry, but you did too, right? You knew. Start talking about the dog, I was going to start crying. So, dog-wise, he's definitely the oldest dog I have ever had in my life. And right up there with a couple of the old cats that I've had. I lost my Ozzy a month before I moved to Selma, and he was 15. So 15 seems to be the golden year for my animals. So I am just going to give him the best year that he can have this year. And knowing that it's more than likely his last year, our last year together. And I'm glad that things have slowed down and I've gotten into a good routine in my life, because now I can focus my energy and my attention on him. And I try not to get too frustrated with him, except when he poops on my floor, which I think he's about to do. No, you're not. You're just woke up from a nap and you're confused, staring at a wall. I love you, buddy. So as difficult as saying goodbye to a 15-year-old dog will be when that day comes, the other goodbye that I know I'm going to have to make, and maybe have to make more than once, oddly enough, this year, is this. In 2023, my mother, who is 88, will be 89 in May, was diagnosed officially with dementia. We have been seeing signs of it for a while now, but now it's official. And I did get to see her this summer when I went up to visit. And she still, for the most part, remembers who I am, doesn't confuse me with one of my sisters, which is better than I can say for, half of the people in my town and all of my school teachers growing up. They all confused us girls together. So the fact that my mother still knows who I am is pretty good. But that day will come that she will not recognize me. She will not remember me. When I call, she won't be able to talk to me on the phone. And so I will have I will never know when the last time I talk to her will be the last time she remembers who I am. It is also potentially that I will have to say the final goodbye to her, and perhaps even my father, who is a year older than her. He will be 90 this summer. He turned 89 in this past year. And he's been having some health problems and some other things, and you just never know, right? You just never know. So, again, not to start grieving before I need to, or to start the year on a negative note or a sad note or a melancholy note, but just to know that these are things that are going to happen. And how can I go into the year knowing this is very likely to happen, these 2 or 3 sad events, losses, and still without falling into the trap of toxic positivity, of Pollyanna. Oh, they lived a good long life. We have so many good, all those things are true, but to be realistic. So my theme of 2024 is finishing what I started, be it blankets and quilts and house projects, or be it relationships. My belief system, those we love are never completely gone from us. They may not be with us on the physical plane anymore, but they are always available to us spiritually and energetically. And in Cass's case, he's already my old shadow come back to me. I think he deserves to go to wherever dogs go to when dogs go to heaven and not have to come back another time. He's been, and if you combine Shadow's life with his life, they've been my constant companions, my almost entire adulthood. So anyway, that said, I don't really have a good way to wrap this up. And I hate to wrap it up in tears, to start the year in tears. And so I'm going to mop my tears with my old sweatshirt here, because this is the second time I made this video and I still didn't think to bring a tissue over here with me or a hanky. But that even though it's it might be a year of saying goodbye and endings and finishing things, it's never an ending. It's always a circle. It's always a spiral path. So my mother's love and those memories of my childhood, time with my mother and my dad, will always be with me. And the lessons that I've learned from her in my lifetime are what have put me on the spiral path, and are what most of the things I know how to do are because of her. So there's good. There is a lot of good. There's a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. So I'm going to leave you. You've stuck with me this long. I'm going to leave you with taking you in the other room and showing you the project that I did finish, with your suggestions and your encouragement and everything. So I hope you stick with me into 2024 and do bring some friends along, and do like, subscribe, and comment. We're really, I'm starting to feel like we're building a little community here, and I really, really love it. So thank you, and welcome to all my new subscribers, and thank you to all of you who've been with me from the beginning. And let's keep going. Let's keep going on the spiral path together. But right now, somebody needs to go outside. So I'm going to show you what's in the other room while I take him outside. And yeah, thanks again. Okay, here we are. It's done. The world's biggest scrappy quilt, and that might be exaggerating a little bit, is bound and on the bed. And it has been since before Christmas, so I got to sleep under it Christmas Eve. And again, you're supposed to be so dazzled by the finished quilt that you don't look at the background and see my laundry that isn't put away or anything else in the background of these photos. But you can also see that I pulled out a couple of my mismatched scrappy quilt fabric pillowcases. I actually had all 4 pillows with those kind of pillowcases on it, and they looked really fun with the mix mash, the scrappy quilt. But my hair got so matted by sleeping on cotton pillowcases, again, I had to switch out for the silk ones in the background. But you can see how far the quilt comes down, covers the box spring, covers side rails of the bed. I still want to make a dust ruffle to go to the floor, but it's less of a need now because this quilt is so big. And it's fun to sit here and look at the different fabrics that I've used. this one, I made a dress for a play I was in. It was a 1940s era play, and I played the 1940s woman, and I had to make a shirtwaist dress out of an old calico to look like something kind of war years. That's what that fabric is from. Trying to find some other ones that have stories. All of these have a story. I made a purse out of this fabric, and there was a fabric here on one of these that I was laying in bed the other morning and said, oh, that fabric is from that maternity dress that I made when I was pregnant for Sarah. And I don't know where that one went. And Sarah turned 30. So that fabric has been in my stash for a minute. But yeah, if you look at a distance, it's a really fun quilt. And when you look up close, it's a lot of different eras of fabric, and it's a fun quilt. So that's how I began 2024, is with this finished project. And I will tell you that I cheated, I guess, but I machine bound the quilt with my walking foot, and then I stitched in the ditch, wrapped it around, stitched in the ditch. It did a beautiful job. I love my sewing machine. And I also just cut strips of random fabrics to make the binding. So the binding is just as scrappy as the quilt itself. And I love it. So there you have it. Last finished project of 2023, and inspiration to go forth into 2024, finishing stuff up.